Hello there, this is Vlad with the Bitcoin Takeover, and today I'm gonna do a very special video, and it's special for two reasons. First of all, I have to point a finger. It's because Trezor has launched the new software for desktop, which is called Suite, and I need to review that. And secondly, I've made a deal with Trezor, and they said that they would help me print more magazines. This is the Bitcoin Takeover magazine. If you want one, just let me know, and I'm gonna see how I can print one for free. So as you can see, I have a full ad page for Trezor, and the deal is that I also get to do this video and write a review of Suite, and they're gonna help me make the magazine printer go burr so that I bring more of these bad boys into your hands for free. So if you also want a magazine, leave me a comment and let me know how I can send it to you. And I'm gonna do my best to get it out to you so that we spread the word and the Bitcoin takeover moves on. I've designed this magazine especially for conferences and for meetups and for all sorts of events where it's necessary to have something that people can actually read. Because sometimes you meet people and they ask you about Bitcoin and you're gonna be like, yeah, I have like 10 minutes to explain this to you. But if you want to learn more, go to this website and read that and blah blah blah. Go to that page, and it's very unlikely that they will. But if you hand them one of these, it's very simple. They just grab it, they're gonna hold it, they're gonna keep it on their coffee tables, they're gonna read an article a day, or just, turn the pages and find out something new that they did not know prior. And I'm gonna try to do one of these every 6 months, so maybe around Christmas time there's gonna be a second issue of Bitcoin Takeover magazine, and I'm very proud of this, and I'm sorry for taking too much time talking about this. Let's get down to business. But before that, I also need to brag about the t-shirt that I'm wearing, because I'm professional, baby. Right now I have a Bitcoin Takeover t-shirt, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna sell these, but I feel very comfortable wearing one, just to know that I'm pushing the brand. I'm trying to build something here, and it's much bigger than me, and it's all about trying to promote good practices when it comes to Bitcoin. And when you think about good practices, it's impossible not to bring Trezor into the conversation. And that was actually a nice sync with the ad right here, because Trezor showed up just when I mentioned it. So yeah, about this, I'm also sponsored by Vaultoro, which is a gold and Bitcoin exchange. And they sponsor my podcast, and they said they are interested in also sponsoring all of my work because they see me as some sort of artist, and I produce work and I should not need to worry about eating and having enough money to pay the rent. So yeah, they sponsor me, and also Wasabi Wallet, and I'm gonna point to them whenever they come up. Wasabi Wallet is a private wallet. It's really good because it routes your connection via Tor, and you can do coin joins if you want. If you don't want to, you can still use it as a more private wallet, which helps you preserve your privacy. So I wrote about it a lot, I've talked about it. It's been 3 minutes, let's get down to business. So Trezor has launched the Suite, which is a software for their hardware wallets. And if you have been a user of Trezor, then you know that they used to have that web interface. And the web interface was compatible with all operating systems that could run a browser like Chrome or like Firefox and even Tor. And last year I even did some instructionals about how you can run Trezor web wallet on your Tor browser for more privacy. But now they have their own application, which is on your desktop. It's available on Windows, on iOS, not iOS, sorry, Mac OS, as well as Linux, and you can download it today. It has been out for quite some time, so you could run the beta version, but last week they launched this version, which happens to be the official launch one. And I need to connect one of these two beautiful devices that I have right here. So as you can see, I also have a hardware wallet cam, thanks to my sponsors. No, this hand. Thanks to my sponsors. So the question is right now, am I gonna use the Trezor One or the Trezor Model T? And the answer is yes, because I'm gonna do this experiment with both of them and see what it's like to use your hardware wallet with Trezor Suite on both versions, because this one actually celebrates its 7th anniversary like these days. I'm not sure exactly when, but around the end of July. And this one is gonna be like 4 years old by the end of the year. So this is truly a testament of Trezor's staying power and their ability to fix their issues via software. And if you're interested to find out more, I have a couple of interviews with Slush, who is the co-founder and the CEO of Trezor, and he explains what their philosophy actually is. So without further ado, let's connect the first one, which is the Trezor One. It has been around since 2014. It's like the standard for all of these setups. And I have a cable right here. I'm gonna connect it. Voila! It's on. This is really exciting because it's also the first time when I use Suit since the official launch. I need to enter the PIN. This is actually a good way of typing your PIN. So it's one of the best practices around and something that Trezor has been doing for years, just scrambling the keyboard. It's not difficult either. So let me see if I can remember this. Of course, I'm gonna cut this from the final video. Right, so I've remembered my PIN, and right now I've logged into the device. As you can see, I've called it Bcash just because, I don't know, I thought it was funny. I don't have any Bcash, as you can see. I have no coins on it because I've reset it multiple times and whatever. This is one of the best practices that you can do with a Trezor. Reset it as often as you can and have multiple wallets created. And just leave a lot around the house. Anyway, Tor is active, and this is a feature that you find in Trezor Suite, because in the web wallet, maybe that you used it to log from your Chrome or from Firefox, and that doesn't really have a private connection. So with Trezor Suite, you don't really have to configure the Tor browser anymore. You just open it and it has Tor enabled by default, which I think is one of the best setups that you can have. It's just like Wasabi. Everything else is just there. You don't have to think about it. It's private so that you don't really need to worry. You also have a privacy button so that you can hide the amounts that you're having. It's very much like the lurking wife mode on Wasabi. So I'm gonna keep on making references back to Wasabi because it's interesting that the two companies, ZK Snacks and Trezor, are working together to create some sort of experience. And I saw that on the Trezor Suite roadmap, there's also something about coin joins. So in the future, you're gonna be able to mix your coins within the interface of your Trezor Suite, which I think is very interesting. You're gonna use your hardware wallet to mix your UTXOs. I think that's a very good design. You also have a notification system, just like on Facebook, I guess. That's what it reminds me of. And there's this setting button. So let's see the settings, but before that, it tells me to update the device. I'm actually curious to see if they add full node integration into this official and final version of Suite. And there's also Trezor News, a tab right here, where you can read the latest articles, I guess, from their blog. I also have like a handful of them that I posted last year. Let's see if I can find it. Okay, so you also have this light bulb, which actually changed the way that the interface looks. So I can get different categories, I can report feedback. Okay, I thought this was to disable night mode, which I was using to basically make everything white and bright. But I can go through categories, and I also have articles that I can read about Tor. This is actually nice because it gets you to the Trezor wiki, which otherwise was very hard to find. You have it right here in the Trezor Suite interface. You just click this light bulb, and this is actually for a guide. At first I thought it was to toggle between light mode and night mode, but this is how you learn about basics, how you label. This is very useful for learning about how Bitcoin works with importing, with lock time, OP return, replace by fee, send raw, send overview, transaction fees. Actually, this is really precious and you should be reading all of this. Even if you're not using it, it's educational for yourself to understand how Bitcoin transactions work. And I have no notifications other than the fact that I should update the firmware, which is a good idea, but only when you make sure that you have backed up your BIP39 seed phrase, because there's a lot that can go wrong. You can get a faulty cable connection or something, and you don't want anything bad to happen while you're updating your device. There are errors that you can encounter, and just in case, you should keep a backup. So before I update, let's see what else we can do here. In application, we can change the language, the fiat currency. Let's see if I have RON for Romanian leis. And there isn't RON, so I'm disappointed. I cannot denominate Bitcoins into RON. There's also labeling, just in case you have multiple Trezors, and you have to type in your PIN if you want to start labeling the device. Okay, what I don't like so far is that I don't have a cancel or a back button in the menu. So I pressed escape and it doesn't really return. It's still here. Also, I like this. When you click a link in Trezor Suite, it asks you if you want to open this. So this is useful. It protects you against phishing attacks and all sorts of other malevolent practices. So I need to enter the PIN, but what if I don't want to enter the PIN? Like, can I press one of these buttons? No, I can't return, so I think I have to unplug it and plug it once again if I get into a menu that I don't like. But now I have to enter the PIN anyway, so actually I didn't have to. Interesting. This is something that you should fix, Trezor, because this should not be the default setting. Make me enter the PIN once again. Okay, in device, I can create a backup. I can check the backup, so this is useful when you write all of your words to make sure that they were written correctly. And it tells you that you should select the number of words that you want to check and enter them in the correct order. The drawback on the Trezor One is that you don't really have a keyboard to type. So this means that you're gonna have to type them on your computer keyboard, which can be compromised. So that's a design flaw at which the Trezor Model T, which is right here, is a lot better and mitigates this risk of having keyloggers on your computer. Now, something else that we have is an update of the firmware, which we are going to perform, and PIN, and you can change the PIN, you can enable a passphrase, which is very useful. So the passphrase is the Trezor's way of approaching physical security, and they chose to remain completely open source with their hardware so that you can check what each part is doing and there's nothing obscure or nothing secret about a secure element chip, which is also added in some other devices that compete with the Trezor. But Trezor has chosen to mitigate this problem with software. So if somebody gains physical access to your Trezor, they cannot do anything to it if you have the passphrase enabled. And the passphrase is a word, sentence, or string of characters that you write on top of your BIP39 backup. So BIP39 is the 12, 18, or 24 words that you use to generate and recover your wallet. You need to enable the passphrase, but you also need to understand that Trezor will never be able to tell you what it is. It's part of your financial sovereignty, and if you lose your passphrase, you also lose your funds. So be careful out there. Write it down on paper, put it on metal sheets. Make sure you don't forget this and you don't lose it, because it's very important and it grants the security that you actually need. And you can also rename the device. So let's say that I don't like Bcash too much, so I rename it Bcore, because why not? And I click edit name, and I need to insert the PIN once again. But what if I don't want to insert the pin and I regret my decision. I need to get back, right? So I cannot get back. I try to click, I try to press escape, I press enter. It takes it as, oh, okay, so if it's invalid, it takes me back. This is useful. I did not have to unplug the device. It's still called Bcache, and I can also change the home screen, which is one of the trademarks of the Trezor One, because you can choose any of these images. And let's see if there's anything of Bitcoin Cash, just to annoy you and make fun of Roger Ver. There's Namecoin. Haven't heard of that one in a while. There is Bitcoin HD. Okay, I know that Slush, the CEO, doesn't like Bcache, so it makes sense that it's not here. But let's put something different. Let's put the Playboy Bunny, because bunnies are a lot of fun. I pressed twice and it returned this error. Device call in progress. I need to insert the pin, but what if I don't want to insert the pin? I need to. Okay, so I'm gonna do it. So as you can see, I have the numbers on the screen and I'm gonna have to type the pin using all of these dots that I see on the Trezor Suite software screen. Okay, so I've entered the pin and now I have to follow the instructions on the screen, and it asks, do you want this is too small. Let me get closer to it while you can still see it. So it says, do you really want to change the home screen? And I have two buttons which can either make me actually this is cancel and this is confirm. So I press confirm and I should have the new image. This was kind of pointless, you know, there's so much cool stuff that you can do with your Trezor, but I chose to change the background image. But this takes me back to the Nokia days when you had the Nokia 3310 and 3410, and with one of these you could have logos on your home screen, and that was a way of showing off back in 2002 or something. You also have auto lock time, which is useful when you leave your device on and you don't want to access it. So this is possibly why I was not required to enter the pin when I unplugged it, because it was within these 10 minutes, but it should be fixed as a design flaw, because, you know, somebody can take your device within these 10 minutes and use it and steal your coins, most likely. So you should not have this issue when you unplug the device. But let's put it to 1 minute. And I have the instructions on my Trezor screen. I confirm, and settings changed successfully. I like the way that you get prompts and notifications about what you do. This is useful because even though you have a screen on the device which tells you what's going on, and this is more trustworthy than the software. So this is the whole point of having a hardware wallet. The fact that you have a very simple and minimal device with minimal hardware and software, which validates the operations that take place in your wallet. So you have physical buttons which guarantee that you're not going to make a transaction remotely without physical access. This is actually a very smart design, and this is part of the reason why they invented hardware wallets. And I should have taken that cable out of the way sooner. You can also wipe the memory. What else can I do here? I can add more crypto because, you know, that's what you do when you shitcoin. You only get XRP on Trezor Model T. We're gonna add it when I connect the Trezor Model T. There's also the advanced settings. Let's see what this does. So you have a blockbook URL. And these are onion. Okay, because I'm connected to Tor, makes a lot of sense. Coin settings also defines discovery process when Trezor is connected. Each time you connect, not remember device. You have to type the URL of a node, I guess. Coin settings. I'm actually curious to see if you can type in your Electrum node URL and see if this works. This is basically the Electrum server, which is routed through Tor, to which you connect when you check Bitcoin information about your transactions. So you should be able to also connect your full node. But for the sake of not doxing my full node, I'm gonna open Electrum and copy the onion address of a random node that I find in Electrum and paste it here and see if that one works. And if that one works, then it means that also my node is going to work, and everyone else's node, as long as it's on Tor, is going to work. And if your node is not on Tor, then you can just change the settings in Wasabi, but that's not really advisable. So let me see. Okay, so here's something interesting. So for information which concern the node access, you can actually add your local node. So in my case, it's 192.168.68.107 because this is the name of the device which is connected. But you can also take a random onion server and post it here, and you're going to have connection info, and this is very useful. So in regards to the question whether or not you can connect your full node to Trezor Suite, this is very useful because you actually can. You just need to know where to look. So I figured this out. You just go to, so from the dashboard, oh, this sucks. I have to type in the pin once again because of the 10-minute rule. Okay, so this is interesting. After you type in the pin, you can either choose between a standard wallet and a hidden wallet. So it's recommended that you use a hidden wallet and you insert the passphrase. But if you want just the standard one, you click on standard and there you go. You can access it. But from here, you go to settings and crypto, and this is where you can change all the details about your full node. So if you have a Litecoin full node, you can connect to it. If you have an Ethereum full node, I mean that's quite a joke right there, but whatever. Maybe that you're able to run a full node on Ethereum. If you have a Bcash full node, you can connect to that one. I don't know, I'll stop here. You can also have testnet, which is useful because it helps you experiment with amounts before they have any monetary value, and you can also choose to which server you connect. So this is very useful. Advanced settings, they let you connect to a node of your choice. And let's say that I also want to enable the testnet. And I think this is it. You have the device options, which are very basic. You have the application options, which concern labeling your devices, Tor, which is very important, and you can also connect to a different Tor address if you're into that. And you also open Trezor.io links as .onion links, which is also useful because you use the Tor browser so that your ISP is not going to know that you opened some Trezor related documents. And if you want to send Trezor usage data, you can do it. If you want to disable dark mode, which is a terrible idea, you can also do it, but whatever, each to their own. And you can also update Suite to the latest version. I think this is it in terms of what you can do. You also have accounts that you can open for different coins. So for example, you can have an account for Bitcoin and another one for Bitcoin testnet. And you also have SegWit accounts and you have legacy accounts. This is useful. For example, you want to generate a legacy address and you click on receive, and it tells you that new default accounts natively in Trezor Suite. So native SegWit is the default in this one. And you can also see your public key, your xpub, which by the way should be also private. So your public key should not be known by everyone. An address is fine because it's derived from the xpub, but don't show your xpub to anyone and don't share it with anyone. And let's say I want to receive, and it generates a new address, show full address, and I have it here. And you have to confirm on your Trezor that this is correct. So you have to look at this and then look at the address on the screen. They seem to be the exact same. So if they are the same, Actually, I can also generate a QR code, as you can see here. So if somebody wants to send you funds, they can actually scan, which is very nice. They can scan on your Trezor screen and you confirm. And this is your address. You can use it now. It's stored here. It says unused. You can reveal it. This is quite useful. I think for a newbie, this is quite a lot. So if you access, for example, Bitcoin and you see that you have multiple accounts that you can add, and you can also add, let's say, a legacy one. And for a legacy one, you can receive. And it's a one address, this is correct. So you can do all of this, and I see that there's also a buy BTC button. And I'm not sure which exchange is going to be used for this. Let's say offers for, so it's in the Netherlands just because this is where the Tor exit node is found, or one of the relays, I guess. But I'm in Romania, let's put Romania here. And let's say that, what's exchange? Oh, okay. And you can also spend, like which places are recommended, doesn't matter. Let's say that I want to buy. Let's say that I want to buy 50 euro, which in BTC, it should have a conversion of sorts. It's not working. I'm pressing enter. It says required, or maybe it's either or. Oh no, I actually have one. So it was loading in the background and I was not aware. I guess this is part of the design that needs to get fixed. And I have offers here from BTC Direct, from, actually all of them are from, no, they're not. I also have Banksa, and who else is here? Mercurio. I haven't heard of any of these, but I see that the payment methods are different, so you can have Ideal, whatever that is, you have a bank transfer, you have credit card, and the prices are a bit different, so you buy slightly more Bitcoin with this one as opposed to this one. And it's nice that it prioritizes so that you get most of your purchase. Actually, this is the same as this, 177,815. This is 175,187, so if you pay with your credit card, you're gonna get less Bitcoin because there are more fees involved. And from Banksa with the credit card, you get even less. You use about 20 bits, just in case you're into that. That's 2000 Satoshis if you're into Satoshis. I'm into bits. And what else? Banksa, Mercurio, Simplex, I've seen this one before, BTC Direct, CEX Direct, not available because it's outside of business hours and there's minimum. The BTC Direct is outside of business hours and this doesn't allow me to buy 50 euro worth of Bitcoin. This is too small for Coinify. And Invity is the service which is also owned by Trezor and by Satoshi Labs and by, what's the other one, Tropic Square. And they provide this comparative approach to purchasing Bitcoin. And the offers keep on refreshing because obviously there's some volatility involved and the price goes up and down. And you can see if I waited, I could get 177,923 for 50 euro. I see it's the same right now, it hasn't changed. So the rate has remained the same. If you want to buy BTC directly from your Trezor, you also have this option, which is useful, I guess. But I guess it would be a lot better if it also involved offers from peer-to-peer exchanges like Huddle Huddle and Bisq, for the simple reason that they need to get more liquidity, and if there was a way to integrate them, that would be so great. Let's see if there's anything involved in this interface that I have missed. There's also a guide. Actually, you can access the guide either from here, the bottom right corner, or from the top right section you go to Site Guide and it opens the exact same menu. And you can learn about privacy, remember and eject. And this gives you some advice about securing your device, and you also have Tor, and it explains what it does, what it is, and why you should use it. You should read this. And what else? Suit basics. You have everything here outlined. I've checked it out before. This explains Shamir backups and single backups and everything else. So I guess this is it for the experience that you get with the Trezor One, which is the hardware wallet which turns 7 years old this month. And I guess this is a lot better than the website that they used to have. It retains all of the options and all the flexibility of the web UI, but at the same time adds more security and adds the possibility to also verify the code, which is tremendously useful. Think about it, that if you open a website, there is the possibility that you get phished and you go to the wrong website, but with an application you can verify the files and the builds and compare them to what is on the GitHub. So that's a major leap in terms of reproducible builds and security. And it also has lots of useful features like Tor, like the ability to connect your own full node. So yes, I very much endorse that you should be using Suit, and I know that there are many more features coming, and I'm going to end this part of the video, which involves the Trezor One, by undergoing the firmware update. Let's see what happens. So right now I'm running version 1.9.4, and it's gonna go to version 1.10.2, and all it says about it is that there are security improvements. If you want to view all of the stuff that's happening, this is actually an onion URL, which is a nice touch. It's gonna get opened by Tor. Let's see if it does. No, it got opened in Firefox. Bummer. I should set up Tor as my default browser, but you should know that you can do this. And let's try to install the firmware. And there's the security checkpoint. Do you have your seed? Yes, I do. Before you perform the update, please make sure you have your recovery seed. Yes, I do. And I click continue. And I suppose there should have also been like an on-device prompt so that you verify. It says disconnect your Trezor and then hold one or both buttons while reconnecting the USB cable. So I disconnected it. I hold one button and I connect it once again. I was always terrible at this. Okay. Now it's in bootloader mode and says that the device is now ready, and I install firmware. Let's see what happens. It should succeed if everything goes well. Now I have to confirm on the Trezor, which is exactly what I was saying earlier. You need on-device confirmations, and here it says never do this without your recovery seed. There's like the third time when you get reminded that you should not perform firmware updates without having your backup. I confirmed. Right now it's loading the files on the device. Installing them. It's quite snappy, but at the same time I guess there's a lot of verification going on, and I'm quite happy with the experience so far. Now it says reconnect your device. I must disconnect it and do not hold any buttons while connecting the cable. This is counterintuitive because the image shows you that it's holding a button, so that one should be changed. This is honest feedback. So I disconnect the Trezor and I'm not pressing any button. I put this back in. Come on. It's just the way that I'm holding the cable. It says update finished successfully. Please reconnect the device, as you can see. So everything went well, it was smooth. I have to unplug it and plug it once again. Like this. And I have the bunny logo. It says that this was completed. I close the window. I must enter the pin once again. I have the pattern here. I must use this dotted 9-digit input to write the pin. And this is kind of it. Let's type the pin one last time. And now it asks me to enter the passphrase, but I did not set one up, so I click on standard wallet. This is a useful prompt because each time you don't have a passphrase, it reminds you that you should be entering one. But at the same time, I very much prefer the design of the Trezor Model T, where you input the passphrase directly on the device's screen as opposed to using your keyboard. But that's only a matter of taste and of paranoia, I guess. This is still good enough 7 years later, but you know, there's a reason why the Model T is more expensive and has more features and is a lot better in many ways. And that's exactly what we're going to do next. We're gonna take this bad boy and connect it through the USB cable and see how is Trezor Suite different if you're using a Model T. If there's any option which gets added, if there's anything extra that you can do. So this is actually going to be very instructional for myself also, so I'm curious to see what I'm gonna discover. Alright, so we are back to the second part of this video where I'm going to show you the experience that you get with Trezor Suite on the Trezor Model T, which is the newer one, which is launched in the fall of 2017. It's more advanced, has more features, and the experience is going to be very different because in the first case, when I used the Trezor One, I have set it up in a way that recovered the existing wallet. But in this case, I'm gonna set it up from scratch. And as you can see, when I connected this, it says go to trezor.io/start. And if you go to trezor.io/start, then it's going to get you to a page where you have to download Trezor Suite. Which means that by now, officially, Trezor no longer endorses the web app UI. So you no longer access your Trezor through your browser, and you're going to have to download the software on your computer. And something interesting about the software, which I haven't mentioned in the previous part, is that not only that you have this on Windows and Mac OS and Linux, but you also have Linux ARM, which means that it's going to work on your Raspberry Pi. So if you're gonna run your Trezor on your Raspbian, I think that's the name of the OS, Raspberry Pi OS or something, then you can absolutely do that. And I suppose that there are lots of Raspberry Pis out there that are able to run Trezor Suite. And I know you might have realized that I'm wearing the glasses, and I apologize for it, but I'm tired, and usually when my eyes get tired I put these on because they block these violet shades of the light, so I can stay up until later without damaging my vision. So really sorry for the glasses. I know I look nerdy and stuff, but it is what it is. I'm trying not to degrade my vision while doing this video, and I have the lights in front of me and they can get me tired. So without further ado, let's see what the experience is like, because I'm in Trezor Suite and it says that there's already a firmware installed on the connected Trezor. And this is a very important detail, and it's a major paradigm shift when it comes to Trezors, because initially you would have your Trezor which was getting delivered with some sort of firmware, but right now a new Trezor has no firmware installed on it. So this is a very useful way to determine whether or not the Trezor has been used before. When it's out of the factory, it has nothing installed on it, and it's gonna undergo a setup which installs the firmware into it, and from that point on there's nothing you can do unless you replace the memory chips to return it to that initial state where it has no firmware installed. All you can do is reset it, but even if you do, there are going to be traces of previous uses. This is useful to combat supply chain attacks and all sorts of other attacks which concern compromising your Trezor. So right now, if you order a new one, you should not see the security check which says that firmware is installed on the connected Trezor. If you see it, you have to go to something seems off, contact support. And that's the most wise step that you should undergo, because as far as I know, they're going to replace your Trezor with a new one. So without further ado, this was not installed before. So actually it was installed before, it was reset to factory settings, and now we're gonna go through the setup. It says that it takes about 5 minutes to complete. So I'm gonna hit setup Trezor. First of all, it says that I should update the firmware to 2.4.1. So I scroll down. You can skip it, but why not? Let's do it. And it says I should disconnect the Trezor and then swipe my finger across the screen while connecting the cable. Let me show it to you here on this camera. Let me figure out how. So it's gonna be out of focus, but I disconnect it and then I rub it upwards while I connect the cable once again. And on the screen it says firmware 2.3.6 by Satoshi Labs. Let me put this in an angle where you can see. So I can either accept to connect to host or deny. But in my case, I'm going to accept. This one has a nicer touch screen as opposed to the two buttons. And right now it says go to trezor.io/start. I guess this is only because I'm using an older firmware. It doesn't say anything about Trezor Suite, but in Trezor Suite, I can click install firmware, which I just did. And let's see what happens. Now it says installing firmware. It's gonna take like a couple of minutes. And now it says done, restarting in 2 seconds. It will restart. Now it says starting up, and I'm supposed to go to trezor.io/start. Now, right here in the Trezor Suite software, I have to hit continue. And it says create a new wallet or restore one from a backup. So let's create a new wallet just so I show you all the steps. You have two choices here. You either get a standard seed backup, which uses the 12 or 24 word setup that is used with BIP39, or else you use the Satoshi Labs 39 improvement proposal. It's called the Shamir backup, and it's basically a personal multi-sig which only gets recovered on one device, and the only other device which works with the standard except for the Trezor Model T is the Keystone, which is the 2nd generation Kobo rebranded. That's just general trivia about devices that support Shamir secret sharing. And in our case, I'm gonna do a standard seed backup, but I recommend you to try Shamir when you get the chance. I know I've recorded a video in the past about how to do it. Maybe that I'm going to do another one because I'm a fan of it and I think it's useful. So let's do standard seed backup with a passphrase. I click standard seed. Now it says confirm on Trezor. Do you want to create a new wallet? By continuing, you agree to the terms of service, which obviously concern the fact that Trezor is not responsible in the event that you lose your coins by misusing the wallet. Now it says your wallet is almost ready. So I can create the backup, which means that I'm going to get the words, or else there is a button below which says skip backup. I don't think you're seeing it. Let me see if I can do something about it. Okay, so I just need to move these a little bit. Now it's good to go. I'm sorry you haven't been able to see that bottom part of the window before. So I can skip it if I want to, but that's a bad idea. You should never skip it. So I'm going to create the backup. And it says right now that Trezor will generate a list of words which you need to write down. The information is the most important part of securing your Trezor. It is the only offline backup of your Trezor and all wallets associated with it. To confirm you understand the instructions below, check your backup in device settings before sending money to the wallet. Never take a photo or make a digital copy of the backup. Keep your backup secured and never share it with anyone. I need to check these individually to guarantee that I read them and I understand the risks of personal financial sovereignty. So now I click begin backup. I can also skip it, but you should never do that. And I have to confirm on Trezor. It says never make a digital copy of your recovery seed and never upload it online. And I touch the button which says I understand, and now you're gonna get on your Trezor screen the 24 words, and actually there are 12, and you have to swipe down to get all of them. So I grabbed a piece of paper and I also have a pen. So let's get down to it and write down the words, and after this we're gonna see what else is in store when you set up a new Trezor with the Trezor Suite app. Obviously you should never show this to anyone, so I'm doing it right now and you can see the first 2 words, but you should never ever show this to anyone. And I'm not going to put any bitcoins on this wallet, just for the record. Okay, so I wrote down all the 12 words and I have them on my paper backup. You should also consider doing something with metal plates like a Bill Fodl or a Kobo tablet. So you can see that I have some words here, but you can't see which ones. And let's move on. Let's see what else I need to do. On the device I need to hold to confirm. So I hold this and confirm that I wrote down all the words. And now there's going to be a verification, and it asks, what is word 1 of 12? And I get to pick between 3 of them. And all of them I think are part of the seed phrase. But you have to pick the first one. And the first one happens to be this one in the middle. And then it says, select word 7 of 12. And word 7 of 12 is the first one here. And then it says, select word 10 of 12. And 10 of 12 is the one in the middle. No, I pressed the wrong one. And this is actually useful to know what happens when you make a mistake, because you go back to the list of words and it asks you to write them down once again. You don't get a second chance. If you make a mistake, the device is going to assume that you wrote down the wrong ones, and you're gonna have to go through this list once again and verify with your notes on a sheet of paper, which is very good and very useful. It's a good design, it's well thought. I have to give them praise for it. Okay, so once again, this time it doesn't ask me for words number 1, 7, and 10. It started with word number 3, which is interesting because now it's this one, and then it asks me for word number 8 of 12, and it's this first one, and now word 11 out of 12, which is this one. And now it says that I have finished backing up the wallet, verifying your recovery seed, and I have to say that unlike the ledger design, you don't get to choose all of the words and verify them. And I think it's kind of a nightmare on the ledger to use those 2 small buttons for all the process, but at the same time it makes you feel like there is something responsible happening, and that what you're holding in your hands is actually very important, and you should pay extra attention and learn how to use the device. But with the Model T, it's very simple, and you only check 3 random words. Now it says your backup is done. Use your backup when you need to recover your wallet. Unlike me, make sure that when you install your real wallet, you're never ever going to show any of the words to anyone else. And if you can use a 24-word backup, do that. I just wanted to do this fast for the sake of convenience. And now it says pin not set right there on the yellow bar on top. And I have a basic logo which says my Trezor. On the Trezor Suite side, I have to continue and set up a pin. Set up a pin. Using a strong pin protects your Trezor from unauthorized physical access. So basically this pin, and you can skip it, is useful because it unlocks your device. And on the device you must confirm that you want a pin protection. You hit yes, and then you select the pin. And you have to notice that once again the keyboard, just like on the Model 1, on the Trezor One, the keyboard is scrambled. So the numbers are all over the place. If somebody wants to track your touch inputs and assumes that on the top left corner you have 1 and on the bottom right corner you have 9, they're gonna be very wrong. Because not even here, where usually you have the 0, you don't really have it. So this is a random generated keyboard that you're going to use for a random password for the pin. And just for the record, it's good to use something long and something that doesn't repeat the same numbers, but it must be something that you can remember or you write down just in case you forget. So let's say that for the sake of this setup, I'm gonna do 60895. 60895. I don't use that just because I said it, and it's not like I will use it myself. It's just for demonstration purposes. And then I click OK, and now the keyboard is scrambled once again, and you have to confirm it with this new pattern. 60895. Okay, now it says it's processing. There are only 2 seconds left. You have successfully enabled pin protection. And now, in the next step of the setup, you activate coins, and it says that you get to select which coins you will be using, and you also get some shitcoin ERC20 tokens. I'm just gonna use Bitcoin and testnet. I can also use this. And set custom blockchain backend. This helps you, just like, you know, when I first showed you on the Trezor One, where you can go in the settings to set up a connection to your own full node. I can do the exact same here, and it's already saved because I'm using the exact same instance of Trezor Suite. And Tor is enabled, so this is important. If it's not enabled in your setup, then you should set it up yourself. When you set up the coins, make sure that if you're running a Bitcoin node, and you should be running a Bitcoin node, just put the IP address here. If it's on the local network, I guess it should work like this, but if you're away from home and you're using this, let's say on Wi-Fi in a cafe or something, you should type in the entire onion address, like this case, or you can leave by default one of the Trezor servers, which I don't think is recommended, but if you do use one of theirs, at least use one of their Tor backends. So there's that. I've also explained this part with coins, and I suppose that the next one is the part where we celebrate. So I click complete setup. It says setup complete. I can edit the name and change the home screen. Edit the name, let's say this is Johnny Be Good. Not Be God, but Be Good. Edit name. And I need to confirm on the Trezor. I just did, and now it's Johnny Be Good. And I need to also change the home screen, and this is in color. And I can change it to Carlos Matos because hey, why not? Okay, so I have Carlos and I access suit. What it says right now is connect your Trezor, which is unusual. Maybe that I've moved the cable while I was at it, or maybe that this is an extra security step, so it makes you type in the pin once again. I'm not sure, but let me reconnect it. But I think I forgot the pin. I'm actually gonna have to replay the video and remember what pin I set up, because it was so random I didn't write it down, and this is something that can happen to you also. Knowing that I will not be using this wallet, I forgot the pin, so I did not use the pin. So let me pause this, I'm gonna watch the video, I'm gonna see which pin I set, and then I'm gonna be back and continue with showing you what's in store for the Trezor Suite and the Trezor Model T. Okay, I'm back, and right now I know what the pin is because I watched the video. And just so you know, if I was to forget about it and not know what it was, I could reset the device by typing in the wrong pin a number of times. I'm not sure how many. It says that I have 16 attempts. After 16 attempts, it's gonna reset to default settings and I can get back to setting the seed phrase and writing down everything, and make sure that this time around I would have written down the pin also. But now I know what the pin was. Okay, this is Johnny Be Good with Carlos Matos as a logo. So as a hidden wallet, I should also set a passphrase. And don't forget to click this button if you're using the Model T. You cannot do this on the Trezor One, but on the Model T you can enter passphrase on the Trezor, which is the best way. You can type it on your keyboard right here, and you'll actually get a feedback based on the length, on how good this is. But if you get the chance to type it on your Trezor, you should, because you never know when your keyboard is logged by somebody and is able to get what you have been typing. So you enter seed phrase on the Trezor. Now you have this T9 keyboard, which reminds you of Nokia phones from the early 2000s when you used to send text messages before the touchscreen technology took over. So let's say that our seed phrase is gonna be Chuck Berry, because the name of the device is Johnny Be Good. So obviously don't use that ever. This is just an example. So it's gonna be, let's say that I want to capitalize the C. So I swipe. I typed a C, as you can see. CC Rider, that's another good song. Okay, this is it. So you set your seed phrase on the device, which is ideal. And you can see it, maybe that this is not ideal, but you can trust that this Trezor is a lot more secure than your computer, because it runs a very limited code and only sends to your computer the kind of information that you allow it to send. And now you click OK. And that's it. You have to remember your seed phrase, because once you set it up, it's all gone. So you write it down just like your PIN, and you hang on to it, because the seed phrase replaces the need for physical security, just like a secure chip that you find in the ledger or in the Bitbox 02. So now it says confirm empty hidden wallet on Johnny Be Good. Hidden wallet is empty. To make sure you are in the correct hidden wallet, please type again the passphrase on Trezor. So I need to type in the passphrase once again. Okay, so it's here. I click the green button, which validates my sign in. And this is it. This is Johnny Be Good with the picture of Carlos Matos. I have the BTC and the BTC testnet. I have the backup created, the pin that's enabled. I have a passphrase and also discrete mode. Oh, so this is called discrete mode. And I have the news here. Okay, so let's see what else I can get in the options for the device. If this is the Model T, you can check your backup, which is useful to do from time to time, just so you remember how you can recover your coins. And you can also update your firmware, change your pin. You can learn more about the passphrase. You can do safety checks. Change the device name. You can upload an image for your home screen, so as opposed to using the ones with Carlos and Dogecoin and Keep Calm and Hodl, you need to confirm on your device. You can upload a picture of yourself or of whoever you want, and you can also change the display rotation. For example, let's say that I want to rotate it north, east. What does it do with east? Okay, it's tilted. If you want to use it like this, I guess it can be useful. Let's see west. So this is actually better for me to show you how to do stuff. And the fact that this is possible is mostly enabled by the square shape of the screen, as you can show the same information in different ways. Now I can just leave it like this and it's gonna be visible a lot easier. I don't have to flip it. I wish I knew about this when I first started, so I would have made less of an effort to show you what's going on the screen, but it's useful to know that you can do this. You can wipe the memory, and here you have the exact same options. In crypto, just remember that in advanced settings you can actually connect your own full node, and in application there's not much going on except for what we have already seen previously. You can reset the app. This is a good first step to any troubleshooting. If you're having any issues, you can reset the app and you can check Suite for updates. This is version 21.7.1. There are still lots of projects on the roadmap for Trezor Suite, and I know for a fact that Trezor is working with ZK Snacks, the company behind Wasabi Wallet, to integrate coin joins. So these guys, they're working together to create a coin join experience within the Trezor interface, which I guess is very nice and useful, and a lot of people are gonna get exposed to the idea of gaining more privacy and making their coins more fungible with coin joins. So I suppose that this is very nice and useful, and I very much look forward to that happening. And there are a lot more power user features that are going to get added. Something on which I'm interested, but I'm not going to check right now, is whether or not you can use different UTXOs, or how many addresses you can generate without actually... Okay, I don't want to show the public key, so as I told you, don't ever expose your XPub to anyone, because they can see all the transactions that you're making and all the addresses that you generate. So that's kind of pointless to use Bitcoin if somebody can have that kind of control over you. And you can send, receive, and trade. I want to see how many addresses you can generate. So this is BC1, QT, blah blah blah. Let's see if I try again. If I reset FF. So I guess you can't really generate as many as you want in a row. Yeah, so this is the same one that's being generated over and over. You also get it on your screen. And you also, just like on the Model 1, you can show it as a QR. Don't try to send anything to this QR. It's just for demo purposes. I'm never going to access this wallet again. Okay, if you want to make me a donation by any chance, you can find maybe an address below. But this has been it. I don't feel like there's anything left to show here. I'm really proud of the guys from Trezor because they pulled this off really nicely, and they added all the bells and whistles that, for example, Ledger has added in time, but they just added it all at once, and I'm really happy that you get to connect your own full node. I think this is really big. And they also have a lot of simple features. So the design is very simple with this app, but you can access lots of hidden gems and useful So, as I was saying before my camera battery died, I really like Trezor Suite and the fact that they combine some very simple features with power user facilities. Like you can connect your own full node, and you can generate both legacy and batch32 addresses, and SegWit addresses. Batch32 ones are the default ones, and they're also nicer and more convenient because they don't have any capital letters, so they are easier to type down. So this has been it. How can we make Trezor Suite better? I guess you can make it connect your full node running in the background. It could do something just like Wasabi. It could download block filters so that you don't have to actually connect to a full node if you don't want to. So you don't have to trust Trezors either. And I guess it can also have some other Bitcoin features so that, I don't know, something that they can take from Electrum. They could take some multi-sig features. I haven't seen anything related to multi-sig when you set it up. You get single sig or Shamir backup, which is also single sig. But it would be nice to also integrate multi-sig into this. I'm pretty sure that it's on the roadmap. I have not seen it here, and please correct me if it's on the Trezor Suite interface at this point. But it can still get better. It can take inspiration from Electrum, from Wasabi, and from stuff like Sparrow as well as Spectre, which are very popular these days. But this is designed for newbies who don't really want or don't really know what they want to do with their hardware wallets, and that's a sad truth. And they need to discover what their device can do before they can move on to something more complex. Anyway, this is nice. It's well designed. I cannot praise the fact that you can connect your own full node enough. It reminds me a bit of what Shift Crypto has done with the Bitbox02, only that I think I prefer this interface for Tor and for connecting to your full node as opposed to theirs. I can't exactly tell why, but then again, I suppose that also Shift Crypto has improved in the last 6 months since I tested the Bitbox02, so I'm just gonna leave that comparison where it is and forget about it. I would like to thank Trezor for offering to help me print more of the BTCTKVR magazines, and as I said in the beginning, this video is actually my way of contributing to the fact that they're going to sponsor the project by helping me print more. So I suppose that this was all for a good cause. You have learned something new. You can get a magazine if you want. I think I would be happy if you could handle the shipping, but I'm not going to sell it to you. You can get it for free, and I also want to release one later in the year after I finish writing more articles. But I think this is a good introduction for somebody who doesn't know much about Bitcoin, and it has lots of perspectives about what Bitcoin is and what it can be and how you can use it. And it has both technical and social commentary, which I suppose you're going to like. For example, you have an article about the long road to Taproot, which explains why Taproot is great and also explains how we got here and how we're going to activate it. But we also have principles versus number go up, which is a criticism of Elon Musk's intervention with Bitcoin. And another one that you might find interesting is on taking Bitcoin mining to the moon, literally, which is more of a sci-fi on how we can take miners and to which extent they can withstand the extreme heat and the extreme cold during nighttime that you get on the moon. And if you're eco-friendly, you can learn about how you can make Bitcoin transactions environmentally friendly. Spoiler, use Lightning. And there's a lot more about the significance of Satoshi Nakamoto's coins, which is a crash course on why we should not care much about Satoshi's coins, basically, because it's his private property, and why it was not a pre-mine, because there's a big difference between having coins before the network even launched and announcing it months prior and having people join in like Hal Finney and a bunch of others. And yeah, and there's also like a celebration of Bitcoin with happy 12th anniversary Bitcoin. You need to read this. It's really nice when you hold it in your hands and you just open it to a random article and you find out something new. And I really wish I could give this to everyone. I don't have the capacity, the logistics to really do it. I still write down by hand on envelopes when I send them. And right now I have like 30 of them that I have ready for shipping. But I'm gonna try to get as many of these as I can out there. If you're organizing a meetup or a conference, I can send you the file and we can talk about how you can print some. Maybe I can pay part of it so that it's not entirely your contribution. I just want to spread information, and the way that I chose to spread this information is by asking help from sponsors, and you can see them here. Thank you very much, Trezor, for being around, and thank you very much for releasing this nice piece of software, the suit. And I hope that you found this useful. If you want the magazine, let me know. And other than this, thank you for watching, like, subscribe, and whatever. What other YouTubers say, just do it. I'll see you later and take care of your security because that's important. Bye.